Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new video, and today we are doing the Supreme Court Decision Timeline, Episode 9, from the years 1956 to 1976. We are getting closer and closer to the finale of this series. Going on to our current Supreme Court, it's a 7-2 liberal court. Chief Justice Paul Jones, Justice Kimbrough Stone, Justice James F. Burns, Justice Harold Hitz Burton, Justice Walter Maximilian Bastian, Justice Felix Frankfurter, Justice Hugo Black, Justice William O. Douglas, and Justice Stanley Forman Reed. Going on to 1956, the only thing we have is the vice presidential election, where Republican Vice President Richard Nixon would defeat Democrat Governor Adlai Stevenson 430 to 100 to win re-election. Going on to 1956, didn't have anything important, but 1957, the Pacoima aircraft accident, as well as President Harry I would pass the Civil Rights Act of 1957. Going on to 1958, Associate Justice Kimbrough Stone would pass away, and he would be replaced by Tom C. Clark. President Harry I would sign the 1958 U.S.-UK Mutual Defense Agreement. He's also signed the Alaska Statehood Act and the Federal Aviation Act of 1958. Going on to 1959, the Knox Mine disaster, that's pictured, as well as President Harry I signing the Antarctic Treaty. Going on to 1960, the Vietnam War would officially begin, as well as the 1960 air disaster. Going on to the 1960 vice presidential election, Democrat Senator John Kennedy would defeat Republican Ambassador Henry Lodge Jr. 308 to 228 to become the 31st vice president. Going on to 1961, the 23rd Amendment is passed, which is electoral votes for D.C. 1962, there is nothing noteworthy. 1963, we can get to it. Sorry about that little mix-up, but in 1963, Vice President John Kennedy would pass away. That would still happen in this timeline, and he would be replaced by Secretary of State Dean Rusk. He would become the 32nd Vice President. Going on to the 1964 year, Associate Justice Harold Hitz Burton would pass away, but he would be replaced by Sherman Minton. And President Harry I would announce the development of the jet plane, as well as the 24th Amendment being passed, which is a poll tax ban. And then there's also the 1964 vice presidential election, where Vice President Dean Rusk would go against Arizona Senator Barry Goldwater. And Democrat Vice President Dean Rusk would defeat Republican Senator Barry Goldwater 486 to 52 to win re-election. Going on 1965, Chief Justice Paul Jones would pass away, and he would be replaced by Pat Brown, the former governor of California that's pictured to the right. Associate Justice Felix Frankfurter would pass away, and he would be replaced by Irving Kaufman. Associate Justice Sherman Minton would pass away, and he would be replaced by Joseph Weintraub. Bloody Sunday also occurs this year, as well as the Northeast Blackout of 1965. Going on to 1966, the 1966 New York City Transit Strike, picture to the right, as well as President Harry I creating the Department of Transportation. 1967, there is nothing too noteworthy. 1968, we only have the vice presidential election, where Republican Governor Spiro Agnew would defeat Democrat Vice President Dean Rusk and Independent Governor George Wallace 311 to 181 to 45 to become the 33rd president. Going on to 1969, we have the 1969 Santa Barbara oil spill that is pictured to the right. Going on to 1970, the My Lai massacre, picture to the right. President Harry I would sign the Public Health Cigarette Smoking Act, as well as the Occupational Safety and Health Act, or OSHA. 1971, Associate Justice Hugo Black would pass away, and Hayden Proctor would be appointed to replace him. He is pictured to the right. As well as the 26th Amendment being ratified, which is the lowered voting age. 1972, President Harry I would pass away, and he would be replaced by South Dakota Senator George McGovern, as well as James F. Burns passing away, and he's be replaced by Pat Mahaffey by the House. We also have the 1970 vice presidential election, where Republican Vice President Spiro Agnew would defeat Democrat Ambassador Sargent Shriver 520 to 17 to win re-election. Going on to 1973, Vice President Spiro Agnew would resign due to the scandals that occurred in real life that would still occur and he would be replaced by Secretary of State Cyrus Vance. He would become the 34th Vice President. He is pictured to the right. And President George II, our second named president, was George McGovern. He would remove all troops from Vietnam, and he would also pass the Endangered Species Act. 1974, we have the oil embargo crisis. 1975, Associate Justice Walter Maximilian would pass away, and he would be replaced by Bert Combs, who was pictured to the right. President George II would also approve the Federal Rules of Evidence, as well as the Mayaguez incident would occur. Going on to the final year of this video, we have the 1976 vice presidential election. Beforehand, we have President George II. He would sign the Federal Election Campaign Act. And Democrat Vice President Cyrus Vance would defeat Republican Senator Bob Dole 297 to 240 to win re-election. And here's the current Supreme Court. It's a 9-0 liberal court. As we have Chief Justice Pat Brown, Justice Tom C. Clark, Justice Pat Mahaffey, Justice Joseph Weintraub, Justice Bert Combs, Justice Irving Kaufman, Justice Hayden Proctor, Justice William O. Douglas, and Justice Stanley Foreman Reed. I hope you enjoy this video, guys. Episode 10 will be out, I hope, very shortly, but this is the Caddick One saying, peace.